My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most painful experiences in life is realizing that the people you chose did not choose you back. You give your time, your care, your loyalty, and yet you are left feeling unseen, unappreciated, and alone. In those moments, Allah is teaching you something powerful. It is time to choose yourself. Choosing yourself does not mean becoming selfish or hard-hearted. It means recognizing your worth, protecting your heart, and refusing to remain in places where your soul is neglected. Allah does not want you to beg for attention, love, or respect. He wants you to walk with dignity, knowing that your value does not decrease just because someone failed to see it. When no one else chooses you, remember Allah already did. And that is more than enough to rebuild your strength, your peace, and your future. Your worth is not determined by who stays. Your worth was written by Allah before anyone ever had a chance to judge you, accept you, or leave you. It was not created by someone's attention, loyalty, or presence in your life. When people walk away, it does not reduce your value. It only reveals their capacity, not your worth. The heart suffers when it forgets this truth and begins to measure itself through the behavior of others. Islam reminds us that honor comes from Allah alone, not from being chosen by people whose hearts change with time. Many people stay in painful situations because they believe that being left means they are not enough. This belief slowly poisons the soul. It teaches you to tolerate, neglect, silence, and disrespect just to avoid being alone. But Allah never designed your heart to survive on emotional scraps. He created you with dignity, depth, and purpose, and no departure from your life has the authority to erase that. When someone leaves, the pain feels personal. The mind searches for reasons, for mistakes, for things you could have done differently, but often what leaves was never meant to carry you forward. Some people enter your life to teach you self-respect, not permanence. Their absence becomes the lesson that saves your future. Your worth remains untouched by their choice to go. A heart that measures its value by who stays will always feel unstable. It becomes anxious, overgiving, and afraid of abandonment. It works too hard to be liked and sacrifices too much to be accepted. But the heart that remembers its worth in Allah becomes calm. It no longer begs for love because it knows it already belongs to the most loving. Allah allows people to leave so your heart learns where it truly belongs. When attachment to people becomes too heavy, He gently removes them so you return to Him. This return restores your strength. It reminds you that your identity is not found in relationships but in your connection with your Creator. And that connection never breaks. Your worth does not increase when someone chooses you, and it does not decrease when they walk away. Their choice reflects their journey, their limitations, their fears, and their direction in life. It does not define who you are. Allah defines who you are, and His definition is permanent. Some of the strongest hearts were shaped by being left behind. Not because abandonment is easy, but because it forces you to stand on your own with Allah. In that standing, you discover resilience, faith, and clarity you never knew you possessed. What felt like rejection becomes the beginning of your self-respect. When you stop chasing those who leave, something powerful happens inside you. Your heart stops bleeding into the wrong places. Your mind becomes quieter. Your faith becomes stronger. You no longer argue with destiny. You begin to trust that Allah removes what blocks your growth, even when it hurts deeply. Your value is not in being chosen by unstable hearts. It is in being chosen by Allah, protected by Him, guided by Him, and known by Him. When this truth settles in your soul, loneliness loses its sting. Silence becomes a place of healing, and you stop questioning your worth. People may fail to see your light, but Allah never misses it. People may forget your sacrifices, but Allah records every one of them. People may misunderstand your intentions, but Allah knows the truth of your heart. And that knowledge alone is enough to keep you standing tall. Your worth is not proven by who stays, but by how you rise when they leave. The way you protect your heart, the way you preserve your dignity, the way you return to Allah when the world turns away, this is where your real value shines. You were never meant to beg to be chosen. You were meant to walk with self-respect, trusting that those meant for you will meet you where Allah places you. The rest will fall away, not as a loss, but as protection. When the heart finally understands its worth, it stops chasing people who do not choose it. It stops shrinking itself to fit into places where it is not valued. It stops apologizing for needing respect, care, and consistency. This is the moment the soul begins to heal. Allah did not create you to be disposable, forgettable, or replaceable. He created you with intention, care, and divine wisdom. Anyone who fails to recognize that was never meant to hold your future in their hands. So hold your head high, walk with faith, guard your heart, and remember always, your worth is not determined by who stays in your life. It is determined by the one who created your life. And He has never left you for a single moment. Letting go is an act of self-respect. Letting go is one of the hardest decisions the heart will ever make. Not because the soul does not understand what is necessary, but because attachment resists what dignity demands. The heart clings to memories, promises, and hope, even when staying is slowly destroying its peace. But self-respect begins the moment you choose your well-being over your fear of losing someone. Islam teaches us that the believer does not remain in what breaks their spirit. When you let go, you are not giving up, you are standing up for the soul Allah entrusted to you. Many people confuse letting go with weakness, when in reality it is the clearest sign of strength. Weakness stays where it is wounded because it fears change. Strength walks away even while the heart is still aching. Self-respect means refusing to stay in places where your tears are ignored, your feelings are minimized, and your presence is taken for granted. Letting go protects the heart from becoming a graveyard of unspoken pain and quiet suffering. The act of letting go teaches the heart how to breathe again. When you remain attached to what hurts you, your soul suffocates slowly. You wake up tired, your mind heavy, your spirit drained. But the moment you release what is poisoning your peace, something inside you begins to heal. The air becomes lighter, the heart becomes calmer, the soul begins to remember what peace feels like. Letting go does not erase love, memories, or what you invested. It simply means you refuse to sacrifice your dignity for connection. You stop negotiating your worth. You stop explaining why you deserve basic respect. And in that decision, your self-respect rises quiet and powerful, stronger than the pain you are leaving behind. There is a moment when the heart realizes that holding on is costing more than letting go. You feel it in your chest, in your sleep, in your prayers. That moment is not weakness, it is wisdom. Allah allows that awareness to grow in you so you choose what preserves your future instead of what traps you in your past. Letting go is an act of trust in Allah's protection. You are saying, Ya Allah, I believe you will replace what I am leaving with something that honors my heart. And Allah never breaks the heart of a servant who walks away for His sake. What leaves your life was blocking something better. Self-respect means walking away without needing to be understood. You no longer chase closure from people who cannot give it. You allow Allah to close what He is removing. This trust frees the heart from endless conversations that only reopen wounds. When you let go, you break the cycle of emotional exhaustion. You stop revisiting the same pain. You stop hoping for change from what has already shown you its limits. Your heart becomes still, not because the pain disappeared, but because the battle finally ended. Letting go teaches you to choose peace over familiarity. Familiar pain is comfortable because it is known. But self-respect chooses the unknown over continued suffering. That choice transforms your life. Some people stay attached because they fear loneliness, but letting go often leads to the deepest companionship of all closeness with Allah. In that closeness, the heart finds a peace that no human connection ever provided. Letting go is not rejection of the past, It is acceptance of reality. And acceptance is the doorway to healing. Once the heart accepts what is, it stops fighting what was and begins preparing for what will be. Self-respect grows when you stop proving your worth to those who refuse to see it. You stop overgiving, you stop shrinking, you stop breaking yourself just to hold something that is already slipping away. When you finally let go, your heart becomes lighter. Not because it forgets, but because it no longer carries what was never meant to be held forever. The burden lifts, the soul exhales. Allah uses letting go to rebuild you. He removes what drains you so He can strengthen you. What feels like loss becomes the beginning of clarity, confidence, and faith. So if your heart is trembling at the thought of releasing what hurts you, remember this: letting go is not losing love, it is choosing yourself. And choosing yourself with Allah at your side is the greatest act of self-respect your soul will ever make. Allah removes people to protect your heart. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, sometimes removes people from your life not as a punishment, but as a protection. The heart often does not understand this at first. It feels abandoned, confused, and wounded. But what the heart cannot yet see, Allah already knows. Some people were never meant to stay because their presence was slowly harming your soul. There are connections that look beautiful on the surface but quietly drain your spirit. You hold on because of memories, history, or hope, while your heart grows heavier every day. Allah sees the damage long before you do. He removes what is weakening you before it breaks you completely. When someone leaves your life, the pain feels unbearable. You replay conversations, wonder what you could have done differently, and question your worth. But often, that separation was Allah's mercy unfolding. He removed the distraction so you could return to yourself, to your faith, and to your purpose. Some people stay long enough to teach you what you deserve, not what you should tolerate. Allah uses them as lessons, not as destinations. When their role in your growth is complete, Allah gently or sometimes forcefully moves them away to protect your future. The heart naturally resists this removal. Attachment fights for familiarity even when familiarity is hurting you. But Allah's protection is not based on comfort. It is based on what will save your soul. What He removes is always replaced with something that strengthens you even if you do not see it yet. When Allah removes someone, He's not taking away love, He's taking away harm. He's lifting the weight. You were too loyal, too patient, or too hopeful to put down yourself. That is not loss. That is divine care. Many hearts break because they mistake removal for rejection. But Allah never rejects His servants. He redirects them. He clears the path so they stop walking toward what was slowly destroying them. Allah removes people who block your growth, your peace, and your connection with Him. Sometimes their presence keeps you distracted from your prayers, your goals, and your healing. So Allah steps in and closes the door you kept reopening. When someone leaves and your heart feels empty, Allah fills that space with clarity. You begin to see the truth of what you were enduring, what you were ignoring, and what you were sacrificing. That awareness is part of His protection. Some people leave because Allah has something greater prepared for you, but that next chapter cannot begin while the wrong people still occupy your life. Removal makes space for what is meant to come. Allah removes people when they become a test to your self-respect. When your dignity is fading and your heart is shrinking, Allah intervenes. He refuses to let your soul be destroyed by something He never intended to stay. Often, the people Allah removes are the ones you loved deeply, and that is why the pain is heavy. But love does not mean permanence. Sometimes love exists only to teach you how deeply you can feel and how strongly you can survive. Allah removes people to teach you reliance. You learn that your heart was never meant to rest on creation. It was created to rest with the Creator. And that realization strengthens you in ways no human ever could. The moment after someone leaves is the moment Allah draws closer. He becomes your comfort, your support, your strength. What you lost in companionship, you gain in divine presence. Allah removes people when they become a source of anxiety instead of peace. He wants your heart to be calm, not constantly unsettled by emotional storms you were not meant to endure. Sometimes Allah removes people quietly. Sometimes He removes them suddenly. Either way, it is an act of mercy, not cruelty. Your future is being protected, even if your present is hurting. The heart grows wiser after removal. You learn boundaries, you learn self-respect, you learn what you will never again tolerate. These lessons are the gifts hidden inside the pain. When Allah removes someone, He is also removing the version of you that accepted less than you deserved. You rise from the loss stronger, clearer, and closer to Him. You may miss what was, but one day you will thank Allah for what He removed. You will see how it saved you from deeper wounds and longer suffering. So trust the removal, trust the separation, trust the closing of doors that felt impossible to accept. Allah does not take from you, He rescues you. And what He rescues you from will never have the power to harm your heart again. Stop chasing those who don't choose you. Stop chasing the people who have already shown you with their actions that they are not choosing you. When someone truly values your presence, your effort, and your heart, you will never have to run after them for attention or affection. The heart becomes exhausted when it keeps chasing what keeps moving away. Allah never created you to live in that state of emotional hunger. He created you to walk with dignity, certainty, and self-respect. Chasing someone who does not choose you slowly teaches the heart to accept less than it deserves. You begin to lower your standards, silence your needs, and tolerate neglect just to keep the connection alive. But love should never require you to abandon yourself. The moment you start chasing, you are already losing pieces of your soul. Many hearts chase because they are afraid of being alone. They cling to familiar pain instead of facing unknown peace. But staying in a place where you are unwanted is more damaging than standing alone with Allah. Solitude with dignity is far healthier than connection without respect. Chasing people who do not choose you traps your heart in constant overthinking. You analyze every message, every silence, every change in tone. Your mind never rests because your heart is tied to uncertainty. Allah wants your heart calm, not constantly negotiating for reassurance. When you stop chasing, something powerful happens. You begin to hear your own voice again. You start recognizing your worth without needing validation. The heart grows quieter, stronger, and more stable. Chasing keeps you emotionally dependent. You wait for someone else's behavior to decide how you feel. But when you stop chasing, you reclaim control over your emotions. Your happiness no longer depends on someone choosing you today or tomorrow. Allah does not want you begging for a place in anyone's life. If someone is meant to walk with you, Allah will make the path easy. If you are forcing it, it is not from Him. Chasing people who do not choose you prevents you from seeing who actually does. While you are focused on the one who is absent, you miss the blessings Allah is sending toward you. Stop chasing what makes you feel invisible. The heart was not created to live in shadows. It was created to be seen, honored, and valued. Chasing drains your spiritual energy. Instead of growing closer to Allah, you grow attached to the creation. That attachment weakens faith and clouds judgment. When you stop chasing, your heart begins to heal. You feel the pain fully, but you also feel the relief of no longer fighting for what is not meant to stay. Stop chasing someone who does not choose you, because the longer you run after them, the longer you delay what Allah has prepared for you. Chasing teaches the heart to accept breadcrumbs instead of real nourishment. Allah wants your soul fed with peace, not starved by uncertainty. When you stop chasing, you walk away with dignity. You leave without bitterness, knowing that you honored your heart. Chasing is rooted in fear. Letting go is rooted in faith. Faith always leads to something better. Stop chasing what keeps hurting you. Your heart deserves gentleness, not constant struggle. The heart that stops chasing becomes magnetic. Peace, clarity, and strength begin to follow you naturally. When you finally stop chasing, you realize that you were not losing them, you were finding yourself. Stop chasing those who don't choose you. Choose yourself instead. And when you do, Allah will choose you in ways that change your life forever. When you choose yourself, Allah elevates you. When you finally choose yourself, something sacred begins inside your soul. You stop living as if your worth depends on being accepted, approved, or needed by others. You begin to walk with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing Allah created you with intention and honor. This shift does not make you selfish, it makes you whole. And when you choose yourself for the sake of Allah, He lifts you to places you never imagined you would reach. Choosing yourself means listening to your heart. When it tells you something is hurting, it means honoring your limits instead of breaking them for the comfort of others. It means protecting your peace even when it costs you relationships you once thought you could not live without. Allah loves when His servant guards the heart He entrusted to them. Many people remain stuck because they fear what will happen when they finally choose themselves. They imagine loneliness, loss, and regret. But what they discover instead is clarity, strength, and relief. Allah replaces what leaves your life with something that nourishes your soul instead of draining it. When you choose yourself, your self-respect returns. You no longer beg for attention, love, or consistency. You stop explaining your worth to those who refuse to see it. That dignity is a form of worship because it honors the way Allah created you. Choosing yourself teaches the heart patience. You stop rushing to fill empty spaces with the wrong people. You wait calmly for what aligns with your faith, your values, and your future. That patience attracts blessings. When you choose yourself, your relationship with Allah deepens. You rely less on people for emotional stability and more on divine guidance. This shift strengthens your faith in ways nothing else ever could. Choosing yourself also sharpens your discernment. You begin to see clearly what brings peace and what brings chaos. You start choosing environments that support your growth instead of shrinking your soul. When you choose yourself, your boundaries become firm. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop negotiating your needs. You stop accepting inconsistency. And Allah honors every boundary you set for His sake. Choosing yourself is not rejection of others. It is acceptance of your responsibility to protect your heart. Allah made you accountable for your soul, and choosing yourself fulfills that trust. When you choose yourself, fear loosens its grip. You stop worrying about being alone because you discover that Allah's companionship is more than enough. That realization transforms loneliness into peace. Choosing yourself also brings emotional balance. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding wisely. Calm replaces chaos and clarity replaces confusion. When you choose yourself, your life becomes aligned. Your thoughts, actions, and intentions begin to move in the same direction. That alignment attracts divine help. Choosing yourself does not remove pain instantly, but it gives pain purpose. Every tear becomes a step toward healing. Every goodbye becomes a doorway to growth. When you choose yourself, your self-talk changes. You stop criticizing your weakness and start honoring your effort. This kindness toward yourself strengthens your heart. Choosing yourself builds resilience. You realize that you can survive change, loss, and disappointment without losing yourself. This strength prepares you for greater responsibilities. When you choose yourself, your future opens. You stop clinging to the past. You stop repeating cycles that harmed you. You begin creating something new. Choosing yourself teaches you how to love better. You no longer pour from an empty heart. You give from wholeness, not from fear. When you choose yourself, Allah elevates you. He removes obstacles, brings new opportunities, and places peace where chaos once lived. Your life begins to move with divine flow. Choosing yourself also protects your iman. You stop placing your heart where it weakens your faith. You choose what brings you closer to Allah, not farther. When you choose yourself, your soul becomes lighter. Burdens fall away. hope rises, strength returns. And one day you look back and realize that choosing yourself was the moment Allah began to elevate your life in every way that truly mattered. When you continue choosing yourself, you begin to recognize how much of your past pain came from abandoning your own needs. You see clearly how often you stayed silent to keep others comfortable, how many times you carried burdens that were never yours to hold. As you honor your own heart, Allah replaces exhaustion with ease and heaviness with peace. Choosing yourself brings a new kind of confidence, one that does not shout or compete. It flows quietly from knowing that your life has meaning beyond approval. You stop seeking permission to exist and start walking with purpose, grounded in faith and self-respect. As you choose yourself, your emotional world becomes more stable. You no longer feel pulled in different directions by other people's moods, expectations, and opinions. Instead, you move according to your values and your connection with Allah, which brings deep inner calm. Choosing yourself teaches you the art of letting go without bitterness. You learn how to close doors gently, with dignity and dua, trusting that Allah will open better ones in their place. This trust transforms fear into hope. You also become more patient with your own growth. You stop demanding perfection and allow yourself the time to heal, learn, and rise. Allah loves the servant who treats themselves with mercy. When you choose yourself, your sense of identity strengthens. You no longer define yourself by who stays, who leaves, or who approves. You define yourself by who you are in the sight of Allah. Choosing yourself removes the habit of over-explaining. You no longer justify your decisions to those who cannot understand your heart. You trust your inner compass and the guidance Allah provides. As you choose yourself, your energy becomes more focused. You stop pouring yourself into situations that drain you. You invest in what nurtures your soul, your faith, and your future. Choosing yourself also deepens gratitude. You begin to appreciate your resilience, your effort, and the quiet ways Allah has carried you through difficult seasons. Gratitude fills your heart with light. When you choose yourself, relationships begin to change. Some people fall away and new connections appear, connections that honor your boundaries and support your growth. Allah arranges this transition with wisdom. Choosing yourself makes your heart more courageous. You become willing to face discomfort in the present for the sake of peace in the future. This courage becomes a source of strength. As you choose yourself, you stop repeating the same painful patterns. You recognize what no longer serves you and walk away without looking back. Choosing yourself brings emotional clarity. You understand what truly matters and what no longer deserves your attention. This clarity brings peace. When you choose yourself, your relationship with time changes. You stop rushing and start living intentionally, trusting Allah's timing in every matter. Choosing yourself also helps you forgive yourself for past mistakes. You realize that every step, even the painful ones, brought you to this moment of awareness and growth. As you choose yourself, your heart becomes lighter. You release guilt, regret, and self-blame. Allah fills those empty spaces with mercy and hope. Choosing yourself strengthens your connection with Allah. You rely on Him more deeply, knowing that He is your true source of stability and peace. When you choose yourself, your spirit becomes resilient. You face challenges with patience, knowing that every trial carries a lesson and a reward. Choosing yourself teaches you how to rest without feeling lazy, how to pause without feeling guilty, and how to heal without fear. As you continue choosing yourself, you begin to walk through life with quiet certainty, trusting that Allah is elevating you step by step. And in time, you realize that every time you chose yourself for the sake of Allah, He was preparing you for a life filled with purpose, peace, and blessings beyond anything you once imagined. My dear brothers and sisters, choosing yourself is one of the bravest things you will ever do. It means walking away from what hurts you even when your heart is still attached. It means protecting your peace, even when you fear being alone. And it means trusting that Allah's plan for you is greater than any person's presence in your life. When you stop begging to be chosen, something beautiful happens. Your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes clearer, your faith becomes stronger. Allah replaces the emptiness left by others with His nearness, His protection, and His mercy. So don't hold on to those who don't choose you. Let them go with dignity and dua. Choose yourself, because Allah chose you first, and when you walk with self-respect and trust in Him, He will guide you toward a life far more peaceful and fulfilling than the one you left behind.